everyone. I am super excited on today that I am sitting here with the lovely Candace, and I am really ecstatic to actually be having a talk with her. I did not want this to be like an interview. I told Candace that we would just have a conversation on today so that you can find out more about Candace, what it is that she does, who Candace is, what Candace has done as far as her business goes, some of her successes, some of her struggles, and hopes to be able to help some other women who are out there either starting a business or in business to help you move further in your business. So again, I am here with Candace. And so I am going to let Candace at this time just give us some information about who she is. So Candace, if you could just tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. So thank you for the invitation. My name is Candace Dennis. I am a real estate agent here in New Jersey. I specialize in first-time home buyers. They have been the bulk of my business. I've been a full-time agent I just entered my 5th year. So very, very exciting. I am a wife, I'm a mother, we invest in real estate, so we own multiple properties. And it's just been an adventure. So I am so excited to, share my journey, share where I've been, share where, what I've been through and where I intend to go. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you actually for accepting the invitation. So you said quite a bit, and we're going to try to hit on a little bit of everything. And there's even some areas that you didn't share, like your titles, but we'll get to it. So just to let us know, like, how did you get started in real estate? What made you decide, like, you know what, I want to become a realtor?
So I actually got started. It was actually a funny story. You ever get into a space where you feel like you're uncomfortable, but it's like, I like what I'm doing, I just don't like how I'm doing it. And that was kind of how the story was for me. So I went to college, I graduated with my bachelor's in business, and right after that, a mortgage job fell into my lap. And I had no intentions on, going into mortgage, to be completely honest with you. I don't even remember what my intentions were. I was just like, okay, I know I'm good at business. I know that, finance and accounting, all of those things, they're my thing. They're what I'm good at. So let me go ahead and seek out, this business degree. And then the mortgage opportunity fell into my lap. So I was a mortgage processor for a couple of years. During that time, I was engaged to my now husband, and we had purchased our first home together. When we closed on that home, the reaction that we got from family and friends, oh my gosh, I thought you had to be rich in order to buy a house. It was like people were amazed. We were the first of our friends group, our siblings, pretty much everybody, in our circle to have owned a home. And I didn't even realize that. So to see that reaction and to currently be in this mortgage processing space, it kind of triggered something in me. And it kind of happened for a number of reasons. One, I was completely burned out in the mortgage processing job that I had. I was stuck in a cubicle. Just to give you guys an image, we had no windows. I couldn't tell you if it was sunny or snowing outside. So it wasn't a terrible job, but because I didn't feel fulfilled, it felt like jail. And I had gotten to a point where I would literally cry on my way to work. And that was how bad I didn't want to be there. So I would pray a whole lot. And, kind of ask God, okay, well, what is next for me? Because I know that your plan for me isn't for me to be crying on the way to work every day. So what is it that you have for me? And when we had gone through the process of, closing on our home and seeing the reaction from our community, as I call them, it kind of sparked something in me. I said, okay, well, there's a lack of something. Because if people are looking at, little Candace as if she did something that was so, and all I had purchased was a small little townhouse, but to my friends and family and everything, it was everything in the world. And I said, okay, well, there's a deficiency somewhere. We're lacking the knowledge, we're lacking the information, we're lacking the education on, you know, home ownership. And people, I literally had my own sister came to me and said, I thought you had to be a doctor or a lawyer in order to own a home. And to get those honest reactions, it was kind of like, okay, well, I've been through this process. I know the ins and outs of it because of the mortgage background that I had. And it was almost like a light bulb went off. And I'm like, thank you, God. I literally went right into real estate school, went through it with no problem, passed the test on the first try. I mean, it was almost like I had found my purpose. Mm-hmm. And once I started working, it was like, it was a slow start. So I'm not even going to say, you know, things just blew up and, you know, everything was amazing. And we'll probably get into, you know, some of my struggles and everything mm-hmm. a little bit later. But just to give you guys some context, it was definitely quite the journey. But when you know that God has something for you, you know, you stick with it and he brings you through it. And he definitely did that for me. So that was my journey of, you know, getting into real estate. That's my why. And ever since then, all of my clients that I have closed on, I mean, they are young. They look like me. A lot of them are women, single mothers. I'm like, this is what I was supposed to do.
Wow, you said so much. And I'm like sitting here like, okay, where do I go from here? Because you have said a lot of key things that I want to touch on. So one of the things to all the women that are watching, she said something very amazing. She said, how many times have you been doing something, but you just don't feel fulfilled? You don't really know, you're comfortable in where you are. What you're doing is not bad, but you don't feel fulfilled because you're not operating in your purpose. So listen, ladies, I thought that was key. That was a really, really good nugget. But then there was something else that you said. You said that you were the first in your circle, in your community, to own a home because everyone else had this preconceived notion that you had to have a certain amount of money, that you had to be rich, literally is the words that you said, in order for them to purchase a home. So what that told me was that you are a barrier breaker, that you was able to bust through the barrier within the community of people that you influence. And I think that is amazing because of you having the tenacity, the courage, the ability to bust through that and say, hey, I have knowledge on the financing side, on the mortgage side. I know that this is something that is attainable. And because you didn't allow, and nothing against your community or your circle, but because you were the one that was able to step out and say, you know what, I'm going to do this because I can and because I want to, so I am going to go for it. But actually what you did was break the barrier and open up the door for other people within your circle to be able to do the same thing. So listen, ladies that are watching, I know we're talking about real estate, but just to kind of shift gears here just for a moment, you have to be the catalyst within your community, within your circle, that is going to be the one to say, you know what is stopping me? There is no limit to what I'm able to do, that if I put my mind to it and I seek out the resources, that it can happen for me, just like it did happen for Candace. And so you also talked about, you know, working with a lot of single moms, working with, single women who are young. That majority of your clients are young. They're just like you. They look like you. And I think that is good. So can you tell me, like, what are some of, so I have an idea of your ideal client. Now, what are some of the ways that you attract these people? What do you do to get your clients?
To be completely honest, it's actually amazing how it happens, because you would think that, you know, the traditional agent, they invest a lot of money into, you know, ads and leads and, oh, I want my face to be on, you know, Zillow.com but for some reason, I never had the urge to do any of that. Everything that I do is through social media. It's been word of mouth. It's been, hey, you know, I know this girl. I went to high school with her. like, go check her out, go see what she's doing. And the next thing you know, they're calling me up. Hey, what do I have to do in order to purchase a home? My marketing is, I don't have a fancy way of putting it other than to say my marketing plan is me showing up as Candace Dennis. That's literally it. And the right people gravitate to me. And I do understand and respect the fact that, you know, as real estate agents, we are not for everyone. We are not the perfect fit for every client, and we are not the perfect agent, you know, for everyone. And that's okay with me. But the way that I've gone about how I market myself, I don't always, you know, if you go on my Instagram right now, you're not going to see a bunch of homes and, oh, I just cashed out and bought this bag and I did this and I did that. No, you're going to see some of my clients, happy clients. You're going to see me working a little bit, but you know what? You're going to see my husband. You're going to see my 2-year-old son. You're not just going to see Candace, the real estate agent. You're going to see Candace, the human being, who's also a mother and a wife and, you know, a youth director at her church and, you know, everything else that I do. And I feel like the way that I go about my marketing, it makes me so much more personable. And I've had clients come to me that say, I'm literally contacting you because I saw from your Instagram, you're a mother as well. So I know you would understand, you know, my goals and, you know, the different things that I've been dealing with. And absolutely. Yes, I do.
I think that is key, that you are personable, you are relatable. People can relate to you. And I think that is key in marketing. Sometimes we do get so caught up in an image, if you will, because of whatever reason. But I think that that is amazing, especially when you're talking about social media, because people get to see you. They get to see, like you said, Candace, the human. I am a human. I do have a life, you know. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing that. And I think for most people who are looking for a realtor or looking for whatever you could be doing, that makes them feel like they know you. When they're able to see you out and about, when they're able to see you having fun with your child, when they see you and your husband out, when they see you vacationing or whatever you decide to share, then people begin to feel like they know you. It's oftentimes that on social media, you feel like you've been knowing people for so long and you may have never even met them in person, but because they begin to share who they are. So I think that that is very important. And so before we kind of go into other things that you do, now what has been, I would say, like, because we know real estate is an amazing career. You meet some amazing people, relationships that we build sometimes are second to none. Sometimes our clients become like our family. Like they become family, they become good friends. And so in that, what do you say have been like one of, or something that has been challenging and how you were able to overcome it?
I would say one of the biggest challenges that has really been weighing heavy on my heart, and I hope that this doesn't, you know, shift the direction of the conversation.
That's okay. Look, I'm open.
I know from our initial conversation, I'm like, oh, I can talk to her about anything.
Oh yeah.
The reality of being a woman in real estate, being a young woman in real estate, and being a young Black woman in real estate. I feel like I'm hit with 3 different, I don't want to call them obstacles because I don't see them that way. But I will say that I do feel like us as Black women in a field that is, you know, dominated by white males, it is a little bit more difficult for us to, you know, achieve a certain level of success. Now, does that mean it's impossible? Absolutely not. Because let me tell you this, everything I set out to do, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done. But one of the challenges that I have faced personally has just been, you know, there's been little dabbles of, I don't want to just call it flat out, you know, racism or anything like that, but, you know, just judgment where someone might, you know, see my name on an offer and go look me up and see my picture or whatever. And maybe the house is in a neighborhood where there's not as many people that look like me, so they might look at that and say, oh, well, she's not qualified. I've worked with some mortgage companies that would only send me leads if, the client was purchasing at a certain price point and in a certain area because of what I looked like. So just different things like that I've experienced as a real estate agent. Some of the on the other end, though, and it's probably more of a positive challenge, but one of the biggest challenges that I face on a day-to-day basis is coming across people that, they reach out to me, they have a wonderful goal of wanting to own a home, but because of different life circumstances, they aren't able to, achieve that goal at the time that they would like to. Because of how personable I get, sometimes, that feeling of defeat that they might feel, I take on a little bit of that. So sometimes I can feel defeated very often if there's ever a client that maybe I can't help right then and there. But I am one of the biggest advocates for my clients, and I'll tell them, you may be delayed, but you're not denied. So here's a plan. Let's talk it through. Let's work this out. We might not be ready right now, but 6 to 12 months down the line, we'll be ready to go. So that's one thing that I did have to master in order to, not feel so defeated as often, if that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. And so also that lets me know that you're a problem solver and that you don't let anything stand in your way, which is a good thing, especially when you're talking about servicing your clients. So you talked about a couple of things. And look, I am here on today to help some women break free and bust free and be all that they have called to be. And so in that, sometimes there are challenges, and you addressed some that I have even had to deal with. And, like you said, you don't want to call it racism, but sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes we do face different obstacles based on our sex, being a female, based on our color, being African American, and just like you said, even for you, like based on being young. But something that you did say, that you don't allow that to stop you, that you keep pressing forward. And so I love that's one of the things that I do love about you, is that you are someone who can persevere, that you will press through, that you would push through, because you understand that this is the place and the space where God has you at this moment and at this time of your journey, of your process. And that because of that, no matter what comes your way, no matter what position you're put in, you know that you're going to bust through that, because this is where you're supposed to be at this time, at this season. So that is amazing. Listen, we're getting ready to shift gears a little bit, but before we do, listen, you're in New Jersey, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what other areas do you service? Do you just service what areas do you service?
I'll say primarily South Jersey, anything south of Burlington County. That's almost like the midpoint of New Jersey. I tend to stay below that. I do have a partner that I like to, if anything is, in North Jersey, I don't turn clients away. I'll just say, well, if I don't feel like I have a certain level of expertise in a certain area, I have a partner that does. I take a lot of pride in my work. So if there's a situation that I'm presented with where, I've never experienced it before, or, I feel like I may not be the best fit to give this person the best service, I'll gladly pass it along to someone who does. So to answer your question, I prefer to stick to South Jersey. But if anyone comes to me at any point of New Jersey, I can help them, even if it means sending them to a partner.
Okay. So perfect. So listen, if you are watching this and you are in Jersey, South Jersey, North Jersey, it sounds like Candace can help you. But listen, I want you to reach out to Candace, because as you have heard thus far in this conversation, is that, look, she is a go-getter. She does not take no for an answer. She's not afraid to bust through barriers. She's not afraid of the challenge, and she gets the job done. So if you are in the market for looking for a home, Candace is the one for you to contact. Now we're going to shift just a little bit, because you said that you and your husband are investors. So how many investment properties do you have, and how did you start in that portion of your journey in real estate?
So right now we have our primary residence where we live now, and we currently have just two other properties that we have that we're holding on to, and we have tenants living in each one of them. Actually, a very interesting story. And again, this just goes back to me having so much pride in how I just live by example, and I just teach people things that, you know, I've experienced myself. The one house that we recently just started renting out was actually our first home that we purchased. We just kind of held on to it. And what we did was we were able to use some of the expected rental income from that property to help us qualify for the one that we have now. And it's pretty much like a cycle. Now, I don't know what the future holds, but if the time comes for us to move again, we will probably do the same thing, rent this one out and then move on to the next one. And that's just one of the, I wouldn't call it like tricks, but just one of the methods of like real estate investing. It's kind of like a beginner's way to just kind of, you know, dabble and dip into it. But I've been teaching people to go about it that way too. But yeah, that's how we go about it.
No, that actually is a good plan, because you had the home, you lived in it for a certain period of time. You said, okay, now it's time for us to go to our next, and we're going to hang on to this one in order to, you know, rent it out to allow someone else to be able to enjoy the home. And then that will be your strategy to go to from this place to your next place. I think that is a really good strategy, because oftentimes people do wonder, like, how in the world can I get started with real estate investing? What do I do? Is it difficult? So I think that that is a very safe way to enter into that, because real estate, but whether people want to believe it or not, real estate is one of several ways that people create wealth, and many, if not all, millionaires and billionaires have their hand in real estate in some type of way, and it's usually in real estate investing. So that's definitely a way to begin to create wealth or create a legacy for your family. So I think that you're off to a great start in that. So one of the topics that we can kind of shift to really quick, because I believe that there are women on here who's going to watch this that may be like, you know what? This is great. Real estate is amazing. I want to be a part of real estate. But I also believe that there are some women that is going to watch this. And I believe that you have something that you could share that would actually help some women break free. So with that, I know in our conversation that we had prior, so just before we do that, I'm going to just give a little bit of information. I met Candace on Instagram. So literally my assistant, who I love so dearly, he works diligently on my social media, keeping all my stuff together. And so I said, hey, this is something that we're going to do. He said, yes, I think we should go for it. We should begin to talk to, you know, other women about some things that's going on in their life. And he said, oh my God, Kay, he says, I ran across Candace's page, and he said, I think that she would be great. And so again, that's a testament to your marketing on social media, because that's how I found you. And I know in our conversation, we talked about real estate. We talked about a lot of things, right?
Everything.
And so one of the things that we talked about was you being a PK. For those that don't know what a PK is, it is a preacher's kid. And so there is usually this stigma about preacher's children. So just shifting gears, and you only can share what you want to share. What was that like? And do you think that had any effect, good or bad, on your business or you getting into business, if that makes sense?
I would say, you know what, just to dig a little bit deeper into me. My father has been in the ministry for as long as I've been alive. He wasn't always a pastor, but he was always in the ministry, something church related. So growing up, I was very involved in the church, praise dancing and singing on the choir and doing this and doing that, PK life, church, school, some kind of activity, and that's about it. So that was the bulk of my childhood. Same with my siblings, same with, my mother. That was pretty much our life. My dad became a pastor in, I don't even remember what year, that's how long ago it was. He was at one church for 10 years. And then we transferred to another church where we've been for either 5 or 6 years now. So almost 2 decades of, being an actual pastor's kid and not just a preacher's kid. And dealing with that, because, and I don't know if a lot of people that are watching this would really be able to understand this, but as a preacher's kid, you are definitely under what feels like a microscope. Anything you do, anything I post, even now, I'm almost 30. And if I post something that sounds a little bit off, my dad will call me. Oh, so-and-so called me and said that you put this on. And I'm like, are you serious? But that was my life. That was something that, I always had to get, it was something I had no choice but to get used to. When I was 19, my mother passed away. And that, I feel like between that and then being so invested in the church, it almost made me happy that I was so invested into the church, because that was the only way that I got through it. Now, as far as me getting into business and being as resilient and, as motivated as I have been, I definitely feel like being a preacher's kid and always being faced with some kind of judgment or adversity, it definitely 100% gave me thicker skin. And not that I have like a I don't care attitude, because I definitely don't. But what I will say is you can say things about me, you can, talk or whatever. And I stand so firm in who I am, and whose I am, that I don't let those kind of things get to me. I really don't. And it's kind of emotional, just talking about it and thinking about the different things that, I've gone through and I've dealt with. But it's been difficult, but I feel like sometimes you go through things for a reason. And I do feel like they definitely, I've been built tough. I've been built tough, and it's definitely been a result of the things that, I've had to go through.
That's awesome. And I wanted you to share that because as women, sometimes we take on a lot. We take a lot of hits. We take a lot of things on, a lot of responsibility. It's just a lot. Being a woman in itself is a lot. Being a mom, being a career woman, all those things. But the main thing that I want you ladies to get out of what Candace just said is that no matter what it is that you have been through, that is those are the things that is preparing you for where you are going. Because she said that because of what she's been through a lot of different things. A lot of things have been said about her, I'm sure, and they all have not been nice. I'm pretty sure there's been some lies told on her. I'm pretty sure there's been even maybe people who have been close to her that kind of shunned her. And so it wasn't like this process was easy. And she even said herself that it was not an easy process, that it was hard. But at the same token, because of those things and because of how she was rooted and grounded, it helped her propel into who she is today. So if you are a woman that is watching this, do not allow what you've been through to stifle you or to stop you from where it is that you need to go to. And I'm saying that because there are women, there are people who are attached to each and every one of us that needs what it is that we have. They need our experiences to help them get to where they're going, whether it be to help them prevent them from going through the same thing or encouraging them because they are going through the same thing. We need to use our past to push us into our purpose, not to let it stop us. And Candace, I think that you have done an amazing job of using everything that you've been through, everything that you've learned, every obstacle, every thing that has come your way. You have been able to overcome it, that you did not allow it to stop you, because I'm sure you've been through some things that could have stopped you in your tracks, but you understood, and you still understand that there is a greater purpose that is on the inside of you, that you cannot allow that to stop you. And so it has been, I'm so happy that I met you, and that like literally, like I feel like I have a friend, right? That, you know, that we could collaborate and do some other things together. Now, before we wrap up, I want to ask you, what is some advice? It could be business, it could be life, it could be whatever is on your heart. What is something that you could say to a woman that is out here that is saying, look, I don't know if I can move forward. I know I've had this dream of doing whatever I know, but I feel like I'm in a space that I don't know if I'm able to push forward.
A personal piece of advice that I would give, it's a very simple reminder, but I think if every woman from all walks of life just keeps this at the forefront of everything that they do, you will literally be unstoppable. There is purpose for your life. It is just that simple. I just truly believe that no matter what you go through, it's always for a reason. Even if that reason is to encourage someone else who has dealt with something that you've been able to go through. I talked about, you know, the passing of my mom. I did not elaborate to tell you guys about 4 more deaths that followed that. My great grandmother was right after that. The following year, or maybe 2 years later, both of my grandmothers passed away within 3 weeks of each other. And then my dad finally, you know, started to get back out into the dating world and everything. And just a few weeks ago, my bonus mom, as I called her, just passed away as well. So I have been hit, and, you know, and being a young mom without a mother figure, but still being able to do the best that I possibly can. And I feel like, you know, with the cards that I've been dealt, I've been doing the best that I can. And that's the other piece of advice that I want to give to anybody who is watching this. Just do the best that you can, because your best is enough. Man, this is hard to talk about. This is hard to talk about. And then a piece of business advice, ladies. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Market yourself and be yourself. Because that's what got me. That's what got me, you know, to where I am. And I feel like if I had created this fabricated version of myself, I would have to uphold some kind of like fictitious version of Candace. And I wouldn't know how to do that. And I would probably be caught. People would be like, okay, well, she's nothing like how she is online. So be yourself, be unapologetic about it. Now, I'm not saying, you know, go buck wild, but but be yourself. And those that are meant for you will just gravitate to you. I truly believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like tearing up, like, oh my God, I'm going to just start bawling right here, okay? Which is absolutely fine. It's something about when you can show your vulnerability and, you know, your emotions. But I wanted to say to you, Candace, outside of thank you for even having this conversation with me, even saying yes, that I'll do it. And then even to come on to share some things that we didn't even talk about, that I didn't even know, that were a little bit tough for you, but you still persevered, that you still shared. And I want to say to you that, and I was like, oh God, like I'm like getting ready to shift here. I like feel a shift, but I'm like, I really do hear a word for you. Many may, if you follow me on social media, many may know that I myself am a pastor, like you know, so I have a lot of different, I've been in ministry all my life. And so But literally all while I was sitting here, I was like, okay, is this the time to do this? But literally, you are just at the brink of what you thought success was, that there is so much success that is lying there for you. And because you are courageous enough to go after it, that it is there for the taking, that you don't have to wait for anybody to tell you to go after it. It is there for you to have. And I even see where you won't even have to work hard for what it is that you are getting ready to obtain. And I even see a multitude of women that you are not only going to be in a place of motivation and inspiration, but I see you in a place of teaching. I see you on large platforms holding conferences and holding teachings, but not only in the realm of real estate, but in the realm of helping other women break free. You're in this space of women who have been shackled, who have been chained, and because of your boldness and your willingness and not being afraid to speak and speak what God is telling you to say, I see these women breaking free, that shackles will begin to fall off of them. And so you are in your next, and it is for you to embrace and to run with it, because I see so much success for you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I receive all of that. Okay.
Like, you are amazing. Listen, if you are watching this, I have had the pleasure over the last, 20 minutes. I've lost track of time on how long we've been sitting here chatting. But listen, Candace Dennis, if you are not following her on social media, go ahead. I want you to give the people that are watching or who's going to watch this ways that they're able to get in touch with you if they're looking for real estate in or outside of the South Jersey area.
I can be found on Instagram, just my name, at Candace Dennis. I am on Facebook as well. I have a Facebook business page set up that's under It's Candace Dennis. And my YouTube channel is under my name as well, Candace Dennis. And based off all of everything that was just poured into me, I'm definitely going to, jump back into the swing of the YouTube thing, become a lot more consistent with that. But that's where you guys can find me. I'm everywhere though. I didn't talk too much about the titles and everything that Kay mentioned earlier, but I'm very active in my church. I'm the youth director at the church where my father is my pastor. I am a committee member on the New Jersey Young Professionals Network. Not sure if you guys know what that is, but basically represents all young professionals in the New Jersey region of realtors. So I am a committee member of that as well. And I'm a member of the National Society of Leadership and Success. So a lot of different things that I dabble into. I can kind of be found, all over the place, but I try to keep everything on my social media so people can keep up with me.
Awesome. So again, listen, I want you to connect with Candace on the various social media platforms. And another thing that I want you to do for those that have watched this or watching this or whatever, I want you to keep a lookout for Candace, because this is just the beginning for her. And you are going to be seeing, hearing more from Candace and about Candace. And I am excited to have met you so that I can share in your success as a cheerleader, to root you on, to even go through this journey from the sidelines, being your cheerleader, because I know that you are going to reach everything that you have set out, and you're even going to exceed goals. So again, Candace, I thank you for having this conversation with me.
Thank you. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. And to everyone that has watched this or watching this, this is the end of our conversation on today, and we will see you next time.